Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to start going over Punnett squares, specifically solving for monohybrid crosses. Monohybrid crosses means that we are dealing with only one trait. So we're going to walk through examples step by step and we're going to break it down. And at the end, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what's coming up next, which is dihybrid crosses. So before we jump into solving anything, I want to break down some important terms and concepts. So we have chromosomes. In this case, we have a pair of homologous chromosomes. And a chromosome, it is just made up of supercoiled DNA. And on this DNA, we have a lot of different types of genes. A gene, it is a specific segment of DNA that is going to carry the instruction for a specific trait. For example, eye color. A gene, it is found at a locus. The locus is where that gene is located on a chromosome. We can think of it like a gene's address, and every single gene is going to live at a specific spot. And after locus, what we have is an allele. We find the alleles at the same exact place where the gene is, but it is only a different version of the gene. So for example, if we have a gene that is coding for eye color, one locus might have a capital B, meaning brown eyes, and the other one might have a lowercase b, meaning blue eyes. So the next thing that we have to go over is some basic terminology. When we have a dominant allele, we are always going to put that in capital letters. When we have a recessive allele, we will always put it in lowercase letters. And when we see the term heterozygous, what we know is that it's going to have different alleles. Hetero means different. So in a heterozygous individual, it would have an uppercase and a lowercase letter. Homozygous means same. It would have two lowercase letters or two capital letters because homo means same. So when we're looking at a chromosome, we can visualize it like this. We have on these chromosomes a gene, and this gene is going to have on its allele two capital letters. So that means it's going to be a homozygous dominant. When we have a gene that has two lowercase letters, it's going to be homozygous recessive. And when we have a gene that has a capital letter and a lowercase letter, it's going to be heterozygous. So with that, I want to start going over the first question. So the first question says, brown eyes are dominant over blue eyes. If one parent is homozygous dominant and the other is heterozygous, what proportion of their offspring will have blue eyes? So the first thing that we need to do is define our alleles. It said that brown eyes are dominant. That means brown eyes are going to be denoted as a capital B. And since they're dominant over blue eyes, we know that blue eyes are going to be recessive and have a lowercase b. Now we have to determine our parental genotypes. It said that we have a homozygous dominant parent and a heterozygous one. So our homozygous dominant parent is going to have two capital B's. And the next one is going to be heterozygous. So that means that it is going to have a capital B and a lowercase b. So therefore, the cross that we have to make is going to be two capital B's and a lowercase and a capital B. So when we put it in a Punnett square, this is what it looks like. On the top, we have one parent's genotype, and on the side, we have other parent's genotype. So we solve it, and what we see in the first square is two capital B's. What we see in the second square is, again, two capital B's, and then we have a lowercase b and a capital B in the third square, and again, a lowercase and a capital in the fourth square. That means that our offspring's genotypes are going to be two capital B's and a capital B and a lowercase b. So because all of the offspring, they have at least one dominant allele, it means that all of them are going to have brown eyes. And that is because in this case, our dominant alleles, they are always going to completely mask our recessive ones. So the second question says, in rabbits, long ears are dominant over short ears. Cross a heterozygous long-eared rabbit with a homozygous recessive short-eared rabbit. What is the probability of their offspring having long ears? Okay, so if we have a parent that is heterozygous, that means that we're going to have a capital letter and a lowercase letter. In this case, we are using L's, so it's going to be capital L and lowercase l. We also know that we have a homozygous recessive parent, which means that both of the alleles are going to be lowercase l. Therefore, our cross is going to be capital L, lowercase l, times two lowercase l's. So we set up our Punnett square, And what we see is that our offspring genotypes are going to be capital L and short L and 2 lowercase l's. Therefore, we have a 50% chance of having long-eared and a 50% chance of having short-eared rabbits. Therefore, 50% of the offspring will have long ears. But remember, in order for a recessive trait to show, both alleles have to be recessive. So, in the next video, we're going to be going over dihybrid crosses, in which we are going to be looking at 2 or more traits at the same time. If you found this video helpful, remember to give it a like, give it a share, and drop a comment with any questions that you have down below. See you next time.